Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bagadon at Stock Market Caddy, and it is approaching 11 a.m., and we thought we would punch up. We've got a little program running that's really going to be quite active here, and so we wanted you to see some automated trades. Pretty active. It's on the NQ. We're trading 5 micros. If I do any intervention, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we're going to let you just watch and let the machine go. What you're seeing are just some of the tools that we have, namely swing machine up above. You're also seeing on the screen a custom Renko setup. You're also seeing something that we call the SMC dual fairway, an indicator. You're also seeing, you may not appreciate it, something called the pivot analysis that's on the chart. And then most importantly is the strategy itself, and how the strategy is configured is very important. And so we're going to see what we can post here. At the same time, give you an opportunity to watch. We're recording it. We'll probably only be up for about probably about 12:15 or so. It will be what it'll be, right? I never know an outcome, but hopefully we have a nice positive run here today. Any questions, let us know. Again, we're trading the NQ primarily because it has the most interest, but you could be doing this on any on any market for that matter. All right. Enjoy. We'll let you watch. Any questions, let us know. Good morning, everybody. I'm Bagadon at Stock Market Caddy, and we're running a little program that we call the Dual Fairway, and we're running it on the MNQs. We got five loaded in the chamber, and we haven't done any intervening here. We're going to keep this up until about 12:15, maybe. I don't know what the outcome will be, but hopefully it'll be positive. We punch up like this to give you an idea and a view of what algorithmic mechanical trading might look like. You can see the swing machine is up above, which is having a very fine morning. That's not what we're trading here, right? It isn't. And on the screen are custom Rinkos, specifically sized. We have the dual fairway indicator, SMC, and matched with the dual fairway strategy. And then we even have the pivot information on the screen as well. So I pretty much got everything I need to see, and we're teed up. And again, hopefully we're going to have a nice outcome. Not suggesting that you try to shadow or trade any of these. That's not why we do it. I don't think that would be productive for you anyways. I don't, you're on delay, some 40,000 millisecond delay courtesy of YouTube. But we do this periodically as I get an opportunity for an hour or so. Can't be every day, can't be all day, every day. We can't do that. We stay pretty busy, but it's hopefully encouragement or an inducement to go visit stockmarketcaddy.com, where and who we are, what we're about, and if it's something that you might want to do. Now, just remember there are 24 possible trading days in a month, 24. And if you take off Fridays, we're down to 20. If you make $178 a day, hopefully we're going to do a little bit better than that here. But if you do that, or $200 a day, it's $4,000 a month, right? But this is an acquired skill set. I don't want to be giving anyone the impression that you're just going to plug something in and just start trading away, because if you're not if you don't have the acquired skill set, you could get yourself hurt, right? You could, and it has to be worked on. Has to become like brushing your teeth. We'll let you watch. Any questions? Let us know. Okay, I did not take that order. I was tempted, but the machine just took it, and she's trading five. We've been trading for about 34 minutes, trading the NQ. We've had a few trades here. We're net positive $347 on five. Remember, right? This is not a race. It's incremental. Um, $350 a month is what, about 7,000, 300, no, not a month. $350 a day would be about $7,000 a month, right? But we're not going to try to make a month's pay in a day. It's incremental. But we wanted to give you a chance or a view to see what we're doing. All right. Any questions? Let us know. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Bagger Don at Stock Market Caddy, and this program has been on for about 44 minutes. 44 minutes, and we're trying not to do any intervening. We're going to let her run. We're letting you see it. Don't know what the outcome will be. We're only going to be on at the latest at about noon, maybe 12:15. So it'll be what it'll be. We okay, and there's a little trade. She took a little loss and wants to. Let's see if we can take it up here. Um, we punch up like this to create some interest and to show you what mechanical and algorithmic trading of futures might look like. You're seeing a number of proprietary tools that we use, as well as many others, but and that are available to our annual members. Monthly members get to see our algos on a nightly basis, and and these tools are rather dispassionate, right? Um, they are what they are, kids. In terms of, sometimes, I get it. I emotionally might want the market to do this or do that. Um, I try not to get emotional about it, but the algos, they don't have any emotion. They don't have any ego. They're algos. They just are. They're machines, and that's the beauty of them. And so trading with them, and I say with them because you got to decide when to turn it on, what to run, how long you want to run. There's a number of decisions around that, how you arrange them, and that is still an acquired skill set. Um, if you are full of emotion and in greed and fear and all of that, then it's going to be really difficult to run anything, quite frankly. All right, so right now she is trading 5 micros. She is in a long position. We're positive 171 bucks off of the account high, and let's see what we do. Right. So again, we're not trying to do this so that you can shadow or take trades at home and make a couple of shekels. We're not. That's not what we're set up to do. It's not what we do. We don't even do that for our members. Um, we're a mentoring service that we show you how we go about our trading. And then for those that want to, we'll make the very same tools that we have available to our annual members primarily, but monthly members again get to see a video of you, and then everybody gets to do what? Trade their own game. Trade their own game. So any questions between now and when we finish, which will be around noon, maybe 12:15, let us know. And if we do any intervention of any trades, I'll let you know. Otherwise, all these trades have been by the machine. I just took a quick little scalp and probably the wrong thing, but I just chose to do that. We're above the daily pivot. We're in between the daily pivot and the R1. See this right in here? Here's the daily pivot, which is 24,896. This is the R1. So I still think that this still, I'm showing a little deference to the 5 minute here, and that we could see another run down here. Um, and this particular program, it's been a little while since I've run it. I'm not 100% sure if she'll catch the next order, if she'll skip it. And so I'm going to kind of watch. We may see it go short and she may not get it. But I probably won't do any mechanical trading. I just got to see her get in sync. Right now we're kind of out of sync, but I could reset it and sync it, but I want to see if she picks up the next order. That's what we're doing. So we're good. We've been running for um, 51 minutes. Um, Let me give you some trading info. We have had how many trades? We've had 6 trades. Our winning percentage is 66%, 2/3, which isn't, we don't care one way or the other. And our profit factor is 1.57. So we're making $1.57 for every dollar we expend at a 40-minute clip. Now, I'm not going to be here all day. Not. Got other things that I need to do. We'll be with you up until about 12 or 12:15. It'll be what it'll be. I hope it's a good outcome, right? Um, but one of the things that is part of being an active trader is learning to be not so active. You know, you want to stay active, but you don't want to be too active, right? You don't want to be, I don't think, running. We run quite a bit, but um, at least in the beginning, I don't think you want to be overly active, right? You want to learn to trade, do it slowly, and again, even think about this, kids, right? Even if it's just, I know you're thinking, it's just $200. Yeah, but there are 20 trading days, right? So if you're able to successfully trade and net yourself $200 a day over, a trading month, it's $4,000, right? You know, it's not going to make you rich, but hopefully it's $4,000, and you learn and acquire the skill, and then you do it. Maybe you got to do that for 5 or 6 months, and grow as a trader, and grow one's account. We'll let you watch. Whoop. And all right, so that's good. I'm happy with that. She didn't skip, so she went in. So that gives me. I like that. So, we have so many programs. What can happen is when you intervene with a robot, they can get themselves out of sync, and we have just so many. I can't possibly remember which ones get out of sync, and it's no big deal. You just need to know that it will get out of sync, and then you have to turn it off, turn it back on, and go. So the fact that I intervened and she didn't get out of sync, it makes it even easier for me, so I don't even have to work as hard. So for instance, I could come in right now and grab this 40 or $50 if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but I could, and she'll just keep ordering. She'll just keep on keeping on. That's a beautiful thing. And psychologically, it can be a nice way to go because the machine is handling the entries, the machine is handling potentially the losses, and if I am intervening, I just take the profits. And so psychologically, it feels kind of nice, right? I can only describe this, but you have to do it so that then it becomes ingrained in you. That's the members that we have that have been with us for years. They may not be running this specific program. I don't know, right? They got a whole bunch of different things they choose, but their approach is probably very very similar in terms of their work ethos, their work ethic. All right, so we'll see. We'll be nearby. Any questions? Let me know. Okay, middle of the day here. I just took a little scalp. Why not? We're getting some nice active trades here. She was kind of middle of the day. I'd like to finish her on a good note. Now, if she does go long, the machine will pick it up, and maybe I take another little scalp. And I'm just kind of doing this. I don't like to do it that often, but you know what? We're here together, and I just wanted to show you what you could do. So, and I said that if I take a scalp, I'll let you know. And I'm not going to describe for every reason, and it doesn't really matter anyways, right? Um, because I may not hit the same shot the same way every single time, right? If we're playing golf, is it any value to you to know that, I hit my 7 iron because the wind was at my back. I was at a side hill lie. I'm 55 yards to the pin. This, that, the water's over here. The hazard's over here. That, 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 that. And I hit my shot and I made a couple of bucks. And what good does that do you? You know, I mean, and maybe the next time I do, well, and here's a case in point, right? I scalped it. Obviously, that was the wrong decision, right? Because I probably left, 300-400 bucks on the table right there. So as an example, so there's nothing really, to be learned. You can't learn to play golf by watching someone else play golf. You got to do it, right? That's going to be the case with anything. You can get some tips, or you can get some, learn how to use some of the tools, but you have to implement them. That makes sense? I hope so. Right? All right. So, but that turned out to be the wrong decision there. That would have been a nice fatty, but we still got time. It's only 11:38 or so, 11:40, right? I like this because, some of the other programs take longer to play out. And I mean, look at Swing Machine. Swing Machine is up here. This is at 9:40 and still in it. And, so you don't see as much. But this is a nice little active program. We've got so many different things. So I kind of like this. So I might stay with this for, with you guys on YouTube for a while. And so you get to see some trades going in and out and can begin to get an appreciation. Sound okay? All right. So. If you've got any questions about who we are, what we're about, you want me to plug anything into, into Swing Machine, feel free. The trend has been up still on a daily basis. It has. It's been there for a good 91, 92 days. I think it's getting, we've been saying this, we think it's a little long in the tooth. And, but they haven't given up on it yet. Right now, when we're trading like this, those types of analyses, it don't really matter. We're so far, when we're trading like this, the daily trend might as well be the monthly trend. It's just too far away. It just doesn't matter. Okay, so we're getting a nice little pop here. I'm going to come in. I'm going to grab another one. I took it, right? Probably the wrong decision. Probably the wrong decision. But we are at noon, right? We are, markets get a tendency to get a little, not so much direction in the middle part of the day, right? We know this as traders. So we've been trading with you for 1 hour, 1 hour and 3 minutes. We could stop. Oh, that's cheating. It is cheating. It is cheating when you stop. Not really. It is in a casino, but we're not in a casino. We're in the market. And it isn't cheating here. You can do that. Now, if you do this, now we had a high watermark. We were up more than this, right? So again, if you make $300 a day over 20 days, it's $6,000 a month. Okay. What do you do with the rest of the part of your day? We got other things that we got to do, right? Presumably you might have other things you got to do. That's what it looks like. But if you want to get in there each and every day, and by the way, it did not go short, right? It didn't. So it still probably was not the right decision to come out so fast. But and you want to be deciding, oh, this moving average is over this, and you got stochastics on there, and you got volume on there, and market profile stuff, and there's all kinds of stuff that you can throw on there. Now, I'm not, necessarily hosing any one particular thing because we use a lot of different things, and people, as long as you're successful in doing whatever it is you're doing, and you can repeat it and do it over and over again, that's where you want to get to, right? So when you're hitting that 7 iron, maybe you hit it 150, maybe you hit it 155, maybe you hit 145, but you're probably going to have, I hit my 7 iron don't laugh, 145 to maybe 160 if I'm lucky. Most times it's probably going to be 150, 155. But, so I can grow to count on it, sort of thing. And that's where you want to get with your trading, so you can grow to count on it. Any questions, let me know. We'll be here. It's still running. Okay, so again, I'm not putting in any of the trades, right? We've been trading for an hour and ten. I say we've been trading, right? We have been trading. The machine has been putting in all the trades. I did a couple of scalps, nothing too big. One of them, I would have been better off not doing a thing. It's trading 5 micros. We've been trading for an hour and 10 minutes. You can see, and we're having a little dry down on this one. And we're only going to be here until noon, 12:15. Okay, so this one's going to hurt us a little bit. It may bring the account back to par. God bless you, Susan. God bless you. You heard that, Susan? Big sneezes. So we'll let it keep rolling. Now I'm not going to intervene on the loss side. The machine will handle it, um, and unless I see something out of its parameters, and but I might intervene at this, at this time to capture a profit, right? But let's see. Let's see what it's doing. All right. So again, I'm Bagadon. This is Stock Market Caddy. We're punching up on these YouTubes to show you what algorithmic or mechanical trading might look like. And this particular program is going to be pretty active the way that we set it up. And we did it on purpose so that if we're going to punch up for only about an hour or so on YouTube, we want you to be able to see some action, if you will. If we use other programs or even like Swing Machine, you don't get to see much because it can take hours for it to play out, right? So again, and this one's going against us a little bit, but all right, and it did. All right, so it brings us down. We're positive 81, and she is long, right? So we'll try to set on our hands and see if we can get a nice punch back up. So these trades are going right now in and out on the machine. Not all the brokerages are going to let you do this, right? They're not. TradeStation is. There might be a few others that do. If you're in another part of the world, another part of the country, and you're giving any thought to joining Stock Market Caddy, as a monthly member, you can be using any platform, but as an annual member, you need to have TradeStation. InView is Swing Machine, which is proprietary to us. InView is the pivot information, so we can see that little yellow dotted line right here. This gives us the daily pivot information based on yesterday's action. This is the resistance level. And then this is also proprietary to us. This is the dual fairway study. And the strategy itself is the dual fairway strategy. And so that's what's taking place. And we're running just 5 micros. And we run it on the NQ, but you could run it on anything. You could run it on silver, you could run it on oil, you could run it on anything. And but we choose to keep this view on the NQ. It's the crazy. It's just batshit crazy, and but it has the most interest and on with the public. So that's you know why we try to keep the view here. But we trade multiple different markets, multiple different ways, multiple different schemes, multiple different ways, right? But in the beginning, everyone's got to start someplace, right? Maybe you start and everyone starts at a different level, and so you have to kind of grow into it. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's at 12:08. We've been up for an hour and 30 minutes, right? And we actually filmed it, right? We taped it little bit later. Hey, I may ask? Yeah, we're not gonna give you the settings, Charlie. Now, if you are an annual member to us, um, and and you want to know the exact program they're running, which is SMC Dual Fairway, and you want to know the exact settings of my program, you want to know the exact settings of the chart, you want to know that, I'm going to tell you. But I'm not going to disclose that on YouTube. All right, I'm just not. So I appreciate it. Nice, nice bid, but we're not going to do that. And how we go about getting those settings though is actually more important, because it's one thing for me to be able to tell everybody, our members, annual members, what the settings are, but they're going to want to know the process so that they can go do it to other markets that we may or may not be trading. Like what would be the appropriate settings for gold or silver or oil or, lumber or whatever, soybean meal. There is something called soybean meal or coffee, what you would want to know. So, but we've been running. So thank you. It is now 12:10, and do we want to take? You know what? I think we're gonna just shut it off if you don't mind. So bear with me. I'm gonna disable, and she is now disabled. So there'll be no more trades. Let me make sure I got everything right here. Yep, she's disabled. So let me give you some of the parameters, right? So at $471, roughly $500. Now you're not going to necessarily do that every day, right? There may be some days that you make $1,000. There might be some days that you make $300. There might be some days where you lose $200, for your trading session, right? This is what we did today in full view for you. But there are 24 trading days in a month. If you take Fridays off, which we suggest you do, right? We always do. And we usually take Mondays off too. We're around the markets. And you're able to successfully pull out, can we round it up to $500? If you do that for the 20 days, that's your net. It's $10,000 a month. One market. One market. We trade multiple markets, right? So Bagger is not doing this. I am doing it for my health, right? I love doing this. I love showing people. I love teaching. I like people. I especially like traders who are critical thinkers. And by the way, it went long and we're not in it. They'll probably be the biggest darn trade, of the day. You can rest assured, but that's okay. At some point, you got to say enough is enough, right? I've eaten enough ice cream today. You just can't sit there and eat the whole thing, right? You got to know. So it's okay to do that. Um, Let me give you the details. So tell me, Don, can you tell me the profit factor? Yes, I can. So let me go get it. To the penny. To the penny. We have had, in this hour and 34 minutes, we had 11 trades. 5 longs, 6 shorts. We won 80% of the time on the longs and 66% of the time on the shorts. That might be interesting to know as you're going. Say, hey, you know what? Maybe the market's a little bit more favorable on the long side. Maybe I should be a little more aggressive with my profits on the short side. And, if you have this data at your fingertips, you can't rely. So sometimes we're making decisions based on the data that's coming into us, not just what's on the screen. Right, so you got to get your head out of just chasing moving averages. That's the problem. People they only know what they know, and they don't know what they don't know. And they get a brokerage account, they put it up, and they put up moving averages, and they put up stochastics, and they watch some Yahoo, and he says, every time the stochastics get into overbought territory, you short it, and and it seems like that's the right thing, and it isn't. But Our total on the 11 trades, we were 72% profitable. Well, that's pretty sweet. Don't even need to be that good, right? Um, but that's pretty good. Our profit factor, 1.8. We're making a dollar. Excuse me. Let me make sure about that. Yes, 1.8. That means we made $1.80 for every dollar we expended, including commissions. Beautiful. That is a beautiful thing. That is a trading business. That is a trading plan. That is what we do. If you're getting it done with what you're doing, keep doing it. If you're not, stop, think, look, listen. Folks, I got a whole bunch of things we've got to get focused on. Um, I'm going to hang here for about 2 more minutes, and then we need the resources on our computer. We're going to turn down, and we'll try to do this again a little bit later in the week. And let me know if you got any questions. All right? All good. Okay, everyone. And all good things got to come to an end, right? And I hope you're getting it done. And again, we punch up like this just to show you what's possible. By the way, we have a something called the Nicholas timing model for you swing traders out there. And I got to tell you, I mean, the thing does really good. What we never know is it's always a frustrating part as a trader, right? When the signals come in. I'm not talking here intraday on this, but we never know when a signal comes in how long it's going to be in for, right? And so, like on the Nicholas, it could be there for 3, 4 weeks, 3, 4 months, right? We had one of the long signals, and it was there like for 90 some odd days. You just never know. Like even on Swing Machine, let's go. Let me just show you here on the NQ. I'm going to change the NQ right here. Ted, don't hit my arm. Um, he wants to go for a walk, so I put it on a daily, right? The daily signal on Swing Machine is 106 days, kids. 106 days. This was back on May 2nd. So if you bought a mini NQ, just one, okay, you still have it, you'd be up $88,000. If you bought 10 of them, you'd be up $880,000. If you bought one mini, you're up $8,800, right? Now, folks, these banks and these hedge funds are trading thousands of these things. Okay, thousands of them. I mean, that's this, how much money there is in the world. They're grown men and women in Chicago, in New York, in Singapore, in London, in Sydney. Some guy is, some foolish guy is in the bowels of his yacht off of Monte Carlo, and 5 or 10 trophy girlfriends of his are jumping off the back of the boat, and he's down in the basement trading with you and me, right? That crazy fool. Trust me, he is, right? Um, Now, the likelihood, the likelihood that you're going to join Stock Market Caddy on June 30th and put this trade on and still hold it if you don't have any trading experience is probably slim and none. Right? I mean, you might have. We might have had folks that do it, because I don't always know, right? Not everybody tells me, right? We get hints sometimes, but they don't always say. But and the reason why I say that is, what would you have done when this was up $10,000? What would you have done? Would that have triggered your greed? What would you have done when you were up $10,000 and it came back and you were only up $5,000? Would that have triggered your fear? And then when your account went from $5,000 up to $15,000, $20,000, would that have triggered your greed? And then it went back. You follow what I'm saying? Um, when you learn how to play golf, it's probably best to learn, to putt, to chip the ball, just to make small, contact. It is not going to be a good idea, and I hope you don't do this to me. People do. That, you go out, you buy the clubs, you buy the naked lady tees, you buy the hat, you got the golf bag with the stereo in it. You've heard me describe this before, and you're ready to play. You want to play. I get it. But you haven't chipped, you haven't practiced, you haven't put in the work, and then you go out to Orange National in Orlando that I love to play. If you haven't seen a golf complex, pull up Orange National. That's where Tiger Woods did that commercial where he was batting the ball like a baseball. Was bouncing it around. That's where it was. Beautiful golf facility. And you go out there and you get in front of me in my group. And and on top of that, that person, they really want to, they want to get their money's worth. It's going to cost them $100 a round or $120 a round because they get the tourists. We get a Florida rate, but and then they want to play from the tips to boot because they want to really see the course, right? Invariably, they'll be in front of me, and I say that for anyone who's golf because if there's anything that's more maddening is well, I can't do it. And it's like a 5 hour round of golf. I mean, even a 4 hours pressing it, four and a half, I'm going to be not happy, right? I'd rather play in three and a half and be done or less. But that's what happens, right? And that's so you can watch this and you can play the game woulda, coulda, shoulda. Oh, wouldn't that have been awesome? And do that. But you can do that with the golf too, right? You can watch somebody play golf and you might be able to get a little bit, but you're not going to learn to play that damn game. And it's a hard game, right? It's a great game. It really is. And I like stuff like that. It's very, very challenging. But you have to work at it. You do. You do. And it takes time. Does that make sense? So, um, and in time, you will, if you stay with it, you will get trades like that. You will. Because I already know. There are members that have. But if you're making decisions off of the emotions of fear and greed, and you just, you just keep doing it, it'll be problematic. So we got some tips. We tried to emphasize this. What one has to do to break those shackles. It's very, very liberating. It is. And then it doesn't. You're really it's hard for me to know exactly where everyone is, but you're probably very probably much closer to it than you realize. Especially if you're talking to us, you've gone through the Q school. Yeah, you come through the Q school, you're very close to changing your trading life, right? But it will rest on you. It will. It won't be on me, but it will rest on you. But you could be very, very close. And when you do bust through, when I say bust through, when you shed the emotions of fear and greed, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will. You will. It's like again coming back to golf. I can remember the first tee. I could remember. You get on your foursome in the first tee and you get a little tense because people are watching and it's the first tee, and you get a little anxious. I don't have any of that today. I've hit too many damn golf balls, played too much golf. I don't have any of that. Now I'm not saying that I'm gonna necessarily have a great drive on the first tee, but I'm not gonna have that shit going through my head. I'm just not. Um, when you're first out on a golf course and you got that shot that you got to hit over water to the green, if you haven't played a lot, they even say don't focus on the trouble. You could be focused on it. Now I'm not saying that I don't put the ball in the water. I do. I do. But I'm not obsessed with it. It's not it's not really in my psyche. It isn't. I am visualizing the shot, and I do expect a good outcome. And I say this to Susie as well. But this goes back years ago. I said, Susan, I may not win every single day. I may not, whatever, but understand, please understand that when I come into my office, and I'm not always sitting, right? So I can stand as well. So I don't want to say I'm sitting. You don't want to be sitting all day every day either. It's bad for your back. But when I come into the office, um, I'm never going to do anything deliberately to hurt us. I mean, that would be insane, right? Why would I do that? But that said, um, there are times that we can have setbacks, right? And but I'm never doing it deliberately. And I whenever I put on a trade or whenever I even interact with a program that we did here today earlier for those that are coming in, I expect I do expect to have a positive outcome. Now, we ran this for, by the way, I got to shut off the video. We ran this for an hour and 45 minutes, and from beginning, let me just close this. So you get to see it. We'll compress it for everybody who's working and doesn't get a chance to see it. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, right? And I said that up front. We're going to do it again. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, but we'll be here, next week, and we'll try to do it again, and with you, and it'll probably be the same. I like this one because this one can, give us some little more active trading, right? I mean, if we put this on a daily, what do we do all day, right? I mean, we just got to let the sucker run, right? And so you don't get to see it. So we're trying to, give you a view. Um, and then you get to choose, how you want to play the course, right? How do you want to play? But when you are learning out of the game of golf, how do you learn, Don? Um, well, you got to have the tools, you got to have the clubs, you got to have a golf bag, you got to have golf shoes. I don't know if you need the naked lady tees or not, but or the hat, but um, you will need those things. And let me just put this back to a 1 minute here. But then you need to put in the time, and you need to practice, and you got to put in the time. And then maybe you don't go to a big regulation course, right? And certainly not to the tips, right? Maybe you've got to go to an executive course, and maybe you're not going to play a full 18 holes. You're only going to play 9 holes, and you have to be put in the time. You have to be patient with yourself and your expectation, right? And learn. And one of the other things around golf, you've seen anybody, golfers know this, right? You get the guy, and also once again, it's not the guy in my group, but it could be the guy at a that's in front of you, and he comes rushing out of his car, and he doesn't warm up, he's cheating, from work, and he's a sales guy, and he just finished a sales meeting, and God knows I've been there, and it's he's rushing out to get out there, and like I say, he doesn't warm up, he doesn't loosen up, and and he probably hasn't practiced because he's working his ass off day in and day out, and he just wants to go out and enjoy himself, right? And nothing wrong with that, right? But then he gets on to the second hole, and he shanks a shot or a tee shot, and then he throws his clubs into the woods, and he's all angry, and he's screaming and yelling, and that's not good, right? That's not good. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't want to be around anyone like that, either on the golf course or certainly in trading. I don't want to be around them, period, right? Yeah, you got to be realistic with your own expectations, right? And then not to be so hard on yourself. So I just share that. Trading should be fun. Um, your account isn't going to go from peak to peak. Our account was higher than 471. Um, okay, it's positive. Profit factor 1.8 for an hour and a half. An hour and a half. One market, right? Um, you know, maybe that's all you do. Maybe you're done for the week. Maybe you are. That'd be all right. You know, you make $471 for the week. And you do that for 6 months, and you build up some experience, you build up some patience, you build up some discipline that you can do it. But if you're trying, I guess where I'm at on this is that if you're trying to squeeze in, you know, a round of golf in between sales meetings and everything else that's going on in your life, and you're not working at it, and you're not really setting yourself up and giving yourself a chance to succeed, and it becomes a source of frustration, then that's not going to healthy. That's just not good, right? It's not good for you. It's not good for the game. It's not good to learn it long term. And trading is much the same. It really is. So and you want to learn to control the things that you can control. Well, what's that? Well, I can tell you one thing that you can't control: the market. Nobody can. Nope. You can't control it. It's not uncontrollable. So that's a given. But what can you control? What time do you start? What days do you trade? What markets do you trade? What leverage do you trade? What programs do you trade? What, Charlie wanted to know, what bar sizes do I use? That's a great question, right? But I would do a disservice to you if I went out and started telling you, oh, this is my bar sizes here, and then you punch them up, and maybe you get a few good trades, but maybe just you're probably not, and get the same outcome. I'm not helping you by doing that. I'm not. That's why we want to spend at least 3 weeks with you, and then we're gonna discuss this very chart. Then how do you determine what else do you do? And that takes time. That takes time. It takes time for us to teach it to you and expose it to you, and then it takes time for you to apply it. But you've got, and we have suggestions around how to do that, right? But then you have to go do it. You have to implement it. That makes sense? I hope so, right? And once you accept it, right? It's just, I don't know, a beautiful thing. I don't have a storefront. I don't have to, pay rent for a storefront. I don't have any employees. I got a little bit of paperwork, but not much. I don't have to travel. Used to travel, used to do all that shit, right? It was fun when I was doing it, right? Go to meetings, stay at nice resorts, right? And rub elbows with the surgeons. I got to see some beautiful parts of the world, right? Surgeons like nice destinations, right? And it was great. It was great, But now, Susie did the same thing, traveling around. But we got a wonderful life, and knock on wood, and go where we want to go when we want to go, which is primarily not on airplanes too, by the way, because we got two golden retrievers that we like to take with us, right? So it's usually within driving distance. But and this is a blast. Stock Market Caddy, for those that are coming by, didn't start 6 months ago. It didn't start 6 years ago. It was not our goal. It wasn't even a twinkle in my eye. It was not. And by the way, the machine is short here, but we're not, right? Because they turned it off, right? And I can tell, but just by looking at that position would be up a little bit. Probably going to be up a lot if we run back down to that pivot point, right? But but if you're grinding, and I've seen people, right? I used to. I don't do this anymore, but I used to go to. Sometimes I would go to people's offices or where they were, and they'd have their hand, form fitted on that mouse. They'd have like a carpal tunnel. It was gripped so tight. You know, that's not good, right? That isn't good. And really try. It's kind of ridiculous, right? When you look at that screen, I can't explain to you why the prices did what they did. I don't. I can't, there's no rationale to that. It is what it is. They move this way. They move that way. They move this way. They move that way. I, there's no rationale. And then once you get to the place where there's no rationale on this chart, and there's no rationale to the 1 minute, there's no rationale to the 5 minute. Guess what? There's no rationale to the daily, even though it's been along for 90 days. Now I could make some shit up. I mean, but that's what brokers and brokers do, right? They'll make some shit up. Yeah, it's long because the economy is great and Trump is this, and just make up some shit. That's what they do. So I am I am the most skeptical person when it comes to the markets, the most skeptical person of Wall Street, the most skeptical person of Madison Avenue, and at the same time, I am the most ignorant person here today when it comes to the markets. I will arm wrestle you for that right. You guys know much, much more than me about everything, including the markets. I don't want to know a damn thing. I just don't. Because I don't want to be, I don't want to have a preconceived notion or idea that I've got to grapple with, the rational side of my brain. I just don't. I just want to trade, listen to some music, do some reading, and get done what I get done. Now, Stock Market Caddy, just to finish that point, we started doing this in the early 2000s. You couldn't do it before that, right? You couldn't. The technology wasn't there. The pricing structures weren't there. The markets weren't there. The regulations weren't there. You couldn't do, even for yourself, you couldn't do it. And after the early 2000s, I said to Susie, this is it. We can do this now. And we got to get underway. I took a sabbatical from my career. Susie was done with IBM, and we started. And then I ended up never going back. And we this is what we do. Stock Market Caddy didn't come about until about 2012 or 2013. And it was just an afterthought. Why? Primarily because I was bored. I was bored. Trading like this can be lonely, right? I'm not, all of a sudden I was traveling and doing it, and now I'm not traveling. But I'm doing this. And then, so the question, I'm like, Susie, I wonder if there are other people out there like us that want to learn to do what we're doing, right? So, long story short, Susan said, yep, you can explore that, Don. I scratched that out on a napkin while we were watching the movie Bag of Ants. There's a scene in the movie Bag of Ants where the golfer, if you see that movie, if you haven't seen it, you want to go see it. But we were watching the movie, and there was a scene where the golfer hits the ball in the woods. It's Matt Damon, and he bends over and he's shaking and he's trembling, and you hear sounds of gunshots and everything, and that's what's going through the mental anguish he is, the fear, the thing. And I stopped the movie. Stopped it. So it's like, oh shit, Don, why are you stopping the movie here? I'm like, Susie, do you remember how scared we were when we started? Do you remember? Yeah, of course, Don. What are you talking, about the trading? Yeah. I said, that's kind of how I felt at times. I identified with that. I felt that. I know what that is. And not so much on the golf course, right? But that would be a horrible thing if you got to be golfing for a living and feeling that. But I felt it from the trading. And I said, I wonder, but we don't have that anymore, Susan. No. I said, I wonder if there are people out there that are having that. And so maybe we could help them get through that. Okay. Let's go back to watching the movie. So I scratched out some ideas. I think we were eating during the movie, right? And I scratched it out in the house. And we talked about it the next day. And so I started scratching out some ideas in names, like Stock Market Caddy. So when it ultimately came to be, I said, I'd like to do this, Susan, because I'm a little lonely and I'm a little bored, right? I got all this time. I have all you this when you start trading for a living, you can have a lot of time when you're not trading, right? Or you're not. You should have a lot of time, and and you can only play so much golf. You can only go fishing so much, and so I wanted to do it, and because I thought it would be cool. And Susan said, "Well, okay, you can do it, Don, provided." She had some rules. Smart girl. She said, "Number one, it can't take away from my trading." I said, "Okay, I don't think it will, but I get it." So she didn't want it to take away. Two, after 5 or 6 months, but certainly inside of a year, whatever we invest in this, it has to be turning some kind of a profit. Like, okay, I get that. She's a business person, right? And I am too, right? So we get that. Like, okay, I mean, you can't, we're business people, and the I'm trying to think of the third thing. That was primarily it. Um, but something happened that we never discussed, never anticipated. And what happened was when we started to do this and people started to join, I thought all the information and all the tools were going to be flowing out. But that's not exactly what happened. What happened was people started joining and they started coming in with all these different experiences and they started sharing things back. And they were seeing price movements that we weren't seeing, and ideas and concepts. And so the net result of it was we started to even further grow. Because sometimes we've been asked, like, well, why do you have so much stuff? Well, because we've been asked. So not everything that you get, now you get everything, but not everything came from Susan and me. Some of it came from other members that were expressed an interest because we will write original code to try to, you know, maximize your time. And so that I didn't anticipate. And so it actually made it, the Stock Market Academy made us better that way. And that's, in the net of it, that's what happened. And that's where we be. We are always going to be this way, though, because I, the membership and everything is extremely well thought out. We never were going to be doing this for the masses. It was never going to be mass produced because I don't think that can work anyways. This isn't for everybody. It isn't, right? I mean, I live in Florida. There's the home show, the boat show, this show, that show. I'm not going to go set up a booth and say, you too can trade. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to suggest that. You got to be a rare bear, a rare bird if this is something you want to do. And it better be something you really want to do. And I don't recommend or suggest that you do it. I don't. It's going to be something you really, really want to do. It'll be like me trying to suggest that you go play golf. I mean, it's going to be something you really, really want to do because you're going to have to work hard at it. And I can't make any claims. Right? I can show you. You just saw what we did live. You go back and throw the video back, and you can watch the trades go off. And we'll do it again, and again, and again, and again. And I'll never really know the outcome, but it'll be what it'll be. But I can't make any claims, and I won't. Because I don't know what you're going to do. Are you going to throw your clubs? Are you going to get impatient and throw on more leverage than you should? Are you going to start and how do you react, right? In the sales game, they talk about, can a person take rejection, right? Because in sales, people can get rejected a lot, right? Do they internalize that? Do they personalize that? Do they take it as a personal affront? Um, And so when the market rejects your analysis, if you're trying to analyze that and you're trying to do it, it could become painful. I don't have that because the machine's doing it. I told you before we get started, the machine was going to put in every single trade. That was going to happen. I was going to put in one, and it did. The machine was going to handle every single loss, and it did. And then I might occasionally take a profit, and I did. So that's it. I wish everyone the best. I've got to go. I'm a little over. Thanks for stopping by, Charlie. Thanks for the question. If you're thinking about Q School, if you're thinking about becoming an annual member and you're in another part of the country, number one, you don't have to have a TradeStation to be a monthly member, but you do have to have TradeStation if you want these tools on your desktop. So that is a prerequisite, but not as a monthly member. You don't have to have TradeStation during Q School, but it's best that you do because you get the most out of it. You'll get the most out of it. Because during Q School, we're going to send you some of the programs, including this one, right? And you have access to our libraries, and if there's something in particular that we don't send you and you want it, you can't get them all, you don't have enough time, but if there's one that intrigues you, you could. And there are some really, really intriguing ones, right? That you don't know, we haven't shown you, you only see about a fraction. Um, and by the way, this long trade here, we once again, could have made more money, but you can only eat so much ice cream. Um, I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, but I do eat too much ice cream. So, um, the um, the Q School is probably best that you do have TradeStation. You don't become an annual member until after you go through Q School. So then you can make the best decision for you and your family at that point. And then if you decide to do it, we're going to credit you back 30% of what you spend for the Q School if you do it right on the heels of that. We're going to give you about 2 free weeks for us to get you everything. So I don't want you paying for stuff that you don't have. And which was not on the website, we give you a baker's dozen. So for the first year, it's 13 months. You got everything. So it's 13 months and like a week or two. And then every year after that, you don't have to go through Q School. And every year after that, you get 1 month free up to an additional 6 months. And the renewal is just $3,500 a year. So yes, we have members that have an effective, if I'm doing the math right, an effective cost of about $1,750, which is like, what, a couple of trades. But you know what? It works because they're like just totally independent. Like when we do talk, it's not even about trading. Probably it might be a little bit, but not usually. It's just it's good stuff. That's the idea. But initially, there's a big time commitment. There's a big time commitment for us too. So the cost is a little bit cost. It's not inexpensive, but we think it's really, really good value. In a nutshell, that's kind of who we are not. But I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial advisor. We know some things around that, but we share perspective. But I'm not giving specific recommendations to buy and sell. Can't do that. We don't do that. There are people that do that. That's not us. And if you have those people and they're good to you, that's good. That's fine. I'm not. We don't tell anybody to do anything or not to do. We just tell you what we do. You want to use some of these things and some of the approach, and then you want to modify it to yourself. That's fine. We trade futures intraday, but we also trade options, and we also invest. And we can use these tools to do exactly that. And by the way, if you didn't, let's just show you this. Let's go back to this guy. 100 days ago, the NQ goes long. Yes, it's up 88 grand, 88 grand with a futures contract. But you could have bought the QQQ, a call contract for 3 months, 4 months if you had wanted to do that. I mean, you very well could be up more than that with options. Do you know what the difference between a credit spread and a debit spread? Do you know, do you know what happens to bonds when interest rates go up or go down? Do you understand what the VIX is? Do you understand, what these things are? Or are you just flinging money around? We don't. Folks, thank you. Thanks for stopping by. I've got to wrap up, and I'm not sure we'll be here tomorrow or not. If anything, would only be for a partial day. But I hope you had a great week. We did. Our members did, and feel free to reach out. Q Schools, by the way, uh, annual memberships. Once you go through Q School, you have a reserve spot to get an annual membership if you want it. Every year, we limit the number of licenses we issue. Therefore, the number of Q Schools we'll do. We're coming up. We won't be doing any. Not likely you're going to be doing anything in December, right? So they're wrapping up for this year. So if you're thinking about doing it and you want to do it this year, you got to reach out. We got to get it scheduled. Otherwise, if you wait, and that's fine, we restart the clock again in January, and we do have folks that have it's first come first serve that have reserve spots going into next year too. So just know that, right? But if you call me up on like December 1 and say, "Hey, I'm ready to go," chances are you're gonna have to wait until January. We do have spots, but not many, and it's very individual. So it's already here. It's October 1. Hard to believe. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.